Ancient legends of this fairyland on Earth tell of a yellow dragon that helped a king channel floodwaters into the sea. Currently, American military forces are converging upon this idyllic valley to secure a foothold in the Minshan mountain range. Elements of the US Marines are on the offensive in this sector, while the forces of the People's Republic of China are called upon to defend ancient ancestral lands, in what promises to be a bitter engagement. This video is going to be a retrospective map analysis of the Dragon Valley map from Battlefield 2. The map has also made a return in Battlefield 4 as part of the Legacy Operations content, but for this video we'll be focusing on the original Battlefield 2 version. We'll be looking at the real-life inspirations for the map, as well as the environment and layout of the map itself. We'll also be going over the flag points and equipment that both the USMC and PLA forces have at their disposal here. According to the description of the map, Dragon Valley is somewhere in the Minshan Mountains. This is a mountain range located in central China. It separates the basins of two major rivers in Sichuan, those being the Min River and the Xiaoling River, and both rivers flow in a general southerly direction. Now, the Battlefield 2 version of this map is puzzling to me, as the USMC team have a carrier out in a large body of water. This body of water is nowhere to be found at the actual location of the Minshan Mountains. The only closest large body of water is Qinghai Lake, which is northwest of the mountains. And even then, I don't see how the USMC could get a carrier that far into central China, even if trying to sail it up the rivers, as I'm pretty sure most wouldn't be wide or deep enough for the carrier. I think DICE may have tried to correct this issue in Battlefield 4 when they brought Dragon Valley back as part of the Legacy Operations. In that version of the map, the US carrier is no longer present, and instead there is a second set of docks nearby. The valley must be very windy, as most of the ambient sounds here are the sounds of heavy winds, especially at the tops of the mountains, as well as birds chirping in the trees and the flowing river water. The number of control point locations varies depending on what size version of the map one is playing on. Dragon Valley has 3 map sizes, a 64-player, 32-player, and 16-player. I will be focusing on the 64-player version, as the 32 and 16-player versions of the map are the same, except that they have less control points to capture due to their reduced play space and smaller player count. But I'll denote on the screen which control point locations are available on each versions of the map as I go through them. This is a Conquest Assault map, in which one team acts as the attacker and another acts as the defender. On this map, the USMC are the attackers and have an uncapturable base to start off from, as well as a capturable one. They also start with more tickets as well. And the PLA are the defenders, automatically controlling all the other capturable points on the map. The 64-player version of Dragon Valley has a total of 11 control points. The uncapturable USMC point is the US carrier, and the capturable point is the docks. While the capturable PLA controlled points are the Vista Point, the River Village, the Temple, the Marketplace, the Island Farmhouse, the Woodyard, the Hill Village, the Power Station, and the Refinery. And there are no neutral control points on this map. There are a few areas of the river where the water is low, which allows vehicles to cross that part of the river to the land on the other side, or the island in the middle. The map also has 4 wooden bridges that can be destroyed using explosives and will require an engineer to repair them. First, we'll take a look at the control points for the USMC. The US carrier is the first uncapturable USMC controlled point on the map, east of the docks. The only way off the carrier is by either jumping in one of the aircraft that spawn on it, or by taking one of the ribs down at the stern gate of the ship. To get down there, one needs to just climb down one of the ship's starboard or portside ladders and follow the stairs down to the stern. For the vehicles that spawn here, as mentioned, 2 ribs spawn down at the stern gate. 2 F-35B Joint Strike Fighters spawn at the stern of the ship on the runway, and 2 AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters also spawn at the stern as well. As for the stationary emplacements, 1 Phalanx CIWS anti-air system is located at the midship, and another one is back at the stern. The docks are the second USMC controlled point on the map, and unlike the carrier, this point can be captured by the PLA if the USMC team fails to defend it. The 2 main entrances to and from this point are in the south and the west. There are several ladders around the docks that infantry can climb up from the water to access the point with. There are also a couple of holes in the brick wall closer to the flagpole. There are 7 buildings, 1 bunker, a large set of silos, 8 smaller silo tanks, and a large crane. These 5 buildings can be garrisoned by players. The crane can be climbed and is a great location for snipers to defend the point from. A couple of the silos also have ladders that can be climbed too. For the commander's support structures, the UAV trailer is between these 2 garrisonable buildings, and the radar station is next to the helipads. And the 3 LW-155 artillery guns are east of the docks, next to a carport. For the vehicles that spawn here, 1 MH-60 Nighthawk transport helicopter spawns at the helipad, an M1 Abrams tank, DPV, and 2 LAV-25 APCs spawn under the pipeline. And 1 more DPV spawns near the southern entrance. And 2 ribs spawn south of the helipads by a ramp. However, if the PLA control the point, then only 4 FAVs and 1 rib will spawn at the point, in the same locations as the US vehicles. And only 1 stationary emplacement is located here, and that is an LMG in the bunker at the southern entrance. The Vista Point is the first PLA-controlled point on the map, atop a mountain overlooking the valley below. The main entrances to this point are along the dirt road going up and down the mountain in the northwest and southwest. The pagoda is the only structure here, and no matter which team controls the point, only 1 FAV will spawn here, and only 1 AT launcher emplacement is located here as well. The River Village is the second PLA-controlled point on the map, southwest of the Vista Point, at the bottom of the mountain. The point has 2 main entrances, one in the east near the dock, and one in the west that leads up the mountain. One can also reach the flagpole through the southern doorway in the wall surrounding it. There are 6 buildings here, with these 2 huts being garrisonable, and the gas station building can also be garrisoned as well. And has a ladder on the back of it, which leads up to the rooftop. As for the vehicles that spawn here, 2 ribs spawn at the docks. 1 APC and 1 FAV spawn by 2 of the buildings in the village. If the US team controls the point, then an APC and FAV will also spawn here with the addition of an M6 linebacker AA vehicle. And no ribs will spawn for the US team here. Only one LMG emplacement is on the window in the wall next to the flagpole. The temple is the third PLA-controlled point, located in the middle of the river on the north end of an island. The main entrance to the point is in the south, at the end of the road, but it can also be accessed from the dock at the north of the temple. The temple is the only structure here, and the only vehicle that spawns here for the PLA team is a rib. No vehicles will spawn here if the US team controls the point. And the only emplacement is an AT launcher down at the dock. The marketplace is the fourth PLA-controlled point, east of the temple. The point has three main entrances, with two in the west and one in the southeast. It can also be accessed in the north by the helipad. There are 7 buildings here, with the same gas station building model at the river village at this point as well, that can be garrisoned. Only this one does not have a ladder on the back of it to access the roof. No matter which faction controls the point, one transport helicopter spawns at the north helipad, and one APC spawns next to it. One FAV spawns closer to the second helipad. As for the stationary emplacements, one AA launcher is next to the second helipad, an LMG is on one of the windows in the outer wall, and an AT launcher is at one of the west entrances. The island farmhouse is the fifth PLA-controlled point, directly south of the temple, at the southern end of the middle island. The point has 2 main entrances, one in the west across the wooden bridge, and one in the east, where the dirt road splits to either go north toward the temple or east across to the other side of the river. There are 2 buildings here and a pagoda on a small hill. This building has space under the roof which can provide some limited cover for infantry from bombing runs or artillery barrages. No matter which team controls the point, 2 FAVs will spawn near the flagpole, and if the PLA maintain control over the point, then 2 ribs will spawn at the dock in the south. As for the stationary emplacements, 2 AA launchers are located next to the pagoda, and 1 LMG is on the window in the wall. The woodyard is the 6th PLA-controlled point on the map. The 2 main entrances to the point are along the road in the northeast and south. Only 1 building, a large carport, and a dock are located here. No matter which faction controls the point, 1 APC and 1 FAV spawn under the large carport. If the PLA maintain control over the point, then a WZ-10 attack helicopter spawns at the helipad, and 1 rib spawns at the dock. For the stationary emplacements, 1 AA launcher is at the northeast entrance surrounded by sandbags, 1 LMG is on a window in the wall next to some crates, and 1 AT launcher is at the south entrance. The hill village is the 7th PLA-controlled point on the map, and gets its name from the small hill that it sits atop of. The point can easily be accessed from all sides, but the 2 main entrances are in the west and southeast. There are 7 buildings here, with this one being garrisonable by players. No matter which faction controls the point, 1 APC and 1 FAV spawn near the flagpole. And if the PLA maintain control over the point, then a Type 95 SPAAA anti-air vehicle will also spawn next to the flagpole. For the stationary emplacements, 1 AA launcher is next to the flagpole surrounded by sandbags, and an AT launcher is north of the flagpole at the edge of the slope on the hill. The power station is the 8th PLA-controlled point, west of the refinery next to the river dam. The main entrances to this point are in the north and south, but it can also be accessed via a hole in the fence in the east from the dried riverbed. Another hole is in the fence next to the small guard post. The guard post, utility office, and power station itself are the only buildings here. The guard post and utility office can be garrisoned by players, and the utility office has an LMG inside it that can be operated by players. As well as another LMG outside in front of it on a small concrete barrier. The power station has a ladder on the side of it that can be climbed, giving players access to the rooftop. No matter which faction controls the point, one FAV and a tank will spawn near the flagpole, and one more FAV spawns next to the utility office. As mentioned previously, 2 LMG emplacements are at the utility office, and one AA launcher is right outside the north entrance, surrounded by sandbags. And finally, the refinery is the 9th PLA-controlled point, and acts as the capturable main base for the PLA team. The point has one main entrance along the road in the north, where the road splits to either go toward the power station or down the mountain to the hill village. But there are a few holes in the fence around the point that players can use to infiltrate it with. Normally this is the part where I would go over the buildings and structures here, but I'll save those for last this time. With that said, for the commander's support structures, the UAV trailer is next to the helipads, and the radar station is near the refinery building on the other side of the fence, closest to the runways. The 3 D-30 artillery guns are located east of the main entrance and north of one of the smokestacks. If the PLA maintain control over the point, one WZ-10 attack helicopter and one Z-8 transport helicopter spawn at the helipads next to the runways. 2 J-10 fighter jets spawn in the 2 hangars at the end of the runways. One FAV spawns at the entrance to the airfield, and another spawns under the refinery building. A WZ-551 APC also spawns next to the refinery building, and another APC and a Type 98 tank spawn in the large warehouse. If the USMC control the point, then only one LAV-25 APC will spawn near the refinery building, and 2 DPVs will spawn in place of the PLA FAVs. For the stationary emplacements, one LMG is in a small guard tower at the main entrance, and an AA launcher is between the 2 helipads. Now for the structures here. There are 4 buildings, 3 hangars, 2 large smokestacks, 2 oil cisterns, a large warehouse, and the refinery building itself. These 3 smaller buildings can be garrisoned by players. And both the large smokestacks have ladders on them that can be climbed and make a great location for snipers to defend the point from attackers below. The refinery structure has a hallway that players can move through and use as cover. The large warehouse also provides cover and has a ladder that can be climbed up to some scaffolding. And the oil cistern at the main entrance has a ladder on it that can be used to climb to the top of it with. And it makes a great location for infantry to get a high ground advantage on enemies below them, as they fight their way across the battlefield of Dragon Valley. So I just wanted to quickly say thanks to everyone who watched the video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I plan on covering all the maps for Battlefield 2 in this series, so if you want to get notified of when the next video is uploaded, you can subscribe to the channel, or click on one of the cards on screen to watch a previous video. And thanks again for watching, and hope you have a good day.